Hare Krishna, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So we will begin by dedicating this presentation to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the Foundacharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. You can say the Mangalacharan and the Guru Pranamantra. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurummilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padahan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Shrato Pango Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarvasva Padam Bojo Radha Madanamohan Divyakundaranyo Kalpa Drumada Srimatratna Gada Simhasanasto Srimat Radha Shri Govinda Deva Prashtadi Bihi Sevyamano Shmarami Sriman Rasarambi Vamsivata Statastitaha Karsham Mursaner Gopi Gopinata Shriyashtuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirage Nastaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Vaishtaki Nigamakalpatarorgalitam Phalam Sukam Kadam Mrityadrapya Samyutam Vibhata Bhagavatam Rasam Valayam Muraho Rasika Bhuvibhavakava Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandadaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanaභaya Nama Pankajamāline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre Pahi Tvai me ananda vishaya matirmadhupati asakrit pratim udpahatat ada gange bhaudamudandati. O Madhupati, as the Ganga forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction or ratim be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णकृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविघ्नविनाशाय नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयितुं गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवम् ईश्वरम् आनन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यम् ईश्वरम् ॐ तत्सत् So Hare Krishna everybody. So this is chapter 15 today.
Hare
Pandavas.
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna everyone. So thank you for joining us for this session. So we will have, we are now doing part 3 of this chapter. The Pandavas retire timely. So what happens is in this story, we heard how Yudhishthira Maharaj sent Arjuna to Dwaraka. That was in the previous chapter. And then 7 months have passed and Yudhishthira Maharaj became very concerned. What's happening to Arjuna? What's happening to Krishna? No news about them. So then he witnessed many ill omens and he was worried about the prediction of Narada Muni because Narada Muni was told him earlier that be prepared for Krishna's disappearance. So when Krishna disappears, that will be the sign for all of you to also follow him to retire. They were not so worried about the retiring part. They were worried about Krishna no longer being present with them. So uh, they were so happy, they were so blissful being in the presence of Krishna that all the problems that assailed them was not something which registered in their minds. They were more focused on Krishna being present with them in all the situations. So they just couldn't imagine Krishna not being present. So in this, and then in this chapter, we saw how Arjuna finally came back, and Yudhishthira Maharaj saw Arjuna in a very terrible situation. All his luster was gone. He looked defeated completely. He looked, it's just terrible. Tears were falling from his eyes. And in this way, Yudhishthira Maharaj kept asking various questions. First, he asked about how were the Vrishnis, how was Krishna, how was Balaram, how were the parents of Krishna, how were the queens of Krishna, so like that. And then finally, he started addressing Arjuna's situation. Then he asked Arjuna, why are you so defeated? Why are you so terrible? And then have you lost your health? Has somebody dishonored you? Have you not been able to keep your promise? So in this, have you behaved badly have you neglected the old man, the children, the brahmanas, behaved badly with chaste women? So all this he asked, and then he said, all this cannot be because I don't think you would have done all these things. The only reason I can see that you are so terribly despondent is because what I fear the most must have come true. Lord Krishna must have left the world. So, and then in this chapter 15, Arjuna begins to speak. He begins to answer Yudhishthira Maharaja's questions. So, begins by expressing feelings of separation. He says, yes, Krishna is no longer here. So, feelings of separation from Krishna. I have lost my dearmost friend. And we see how Arjuna, but before he speaks, his body language itself speaks volumes. We see how the description was given. His limbs were shaking, his eyes were, filled with tears, and he was barely able to check the tears coming down. So all this we heard, and this is basically Arjuna, Krishna Vislesha Karshitaha. Karshita means very terribly bereaved. He was very, very sad, extremely sad, Karshita. Why was he sad? Because he lost Krishna. Feelings of separation from Krishna. Vislesha means separation from Krishna. So, previous session, we linked these feelings of Arjuna to the Sikshashtakam verse 7, where, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yugaitam nimeshana chakshusha pravarshaitam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahena Me. This one, just one moment is without Krishna is like ages, as if a yugas have passed, and everything seems vacant. So in this way, Arjuna's expressions and feelings were exactly like how this verse, or in the seventh verse in the Sikshastakam. So we talked about all that in the previous session, right? And so this is Govinda Virahiname coming from the Sikshastakam verse. Arjuna will speak all this, and she is remembering Krishna's separation. He helplessly starts remembering the various relationships and pastimes that he has had the experience with Krishna. So this is natural. When somebody is missing someone very much, normally we start remembering the various memories, right? The different memories that come. So for Arjuna, every memory was extremely vivid. And not only it was vivid, he begins to see how much he was completely dependent on Krishna. Previously, when Krishna was present, due to Yoga Maya potency, he forgot Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He forgot that actually it was only because of Krishna everything was possible for Arjuna. But now that Krishna is no longer there, he awakens to that idea, to the reality that actually Krishna was the life of Arjuna. Everything that Arjuna did was only due to the presence and blessings of Krishna. So in this way, he begins Krishna Anubhava. He remembers all the different emotions and feelings that he had with Krishna. So this was what we were discussing. We stopped in there were some examples. Like for example, he began. So we will recap this in the next slide. So we are now doing part 3. So in the recap, in the Krishna Anubhava, remembering Krishna's pastimes with Arjuna, Arjuna began with the experience of winning Draupadi as his wife. So we talked about this previously in the first session itself, how it was very difficult, the test which was set by Maharaj Drupada. Maharaj Drupada was Draupadi's father, and he had set a very difficult test for the Swayamvara ceremony of Draupadi. So to win Draupadi's hand, the prospective prince must be able to shoot through the eye of a fish which was rotating on the top of a pillar. But he has to do it without looking at the fish. He has to look at the reflection of the fish in water. Just by looking at the reflection, he is supposed to shoot at the target. So very difficult to achieve, but Arjuna remembers it was by the grace of Krishna, because Krishna was present there, and by his glance, by his merciful glance, I was able to achieve this and win Draupadi as my wife, because it was Krishna's desire that this should happen. And then Arjuna also remembered the incident in the Kandava forest. This was also narrated in the previous session. We talked about how Agni wanted to consume the Kandava forest to cure his stomachache, but Lord Indra was frustrating his efforts by pouring. Each time he will raise up in fire, Indra will come and pour water on the forest by using his clouds. So like this, many times in Agni tried to consume the forest, but Indra will stop him. Why? Because Indra's friend, there was a friend, Indra had a friend called Takshaka. Takshaka was the king of serpents, and he was there, and because of him, Indra wanted to protect him. But Takshaka was not a very, he was basically adharmic, asuric. So Brahma already ordained that this forest should be destroyed. And Agni asked the assistance of Arjuna and Krishna. So Arjuna and Krishna were in that forest at that time. So he asked his assistants, and Arjuna and Krishna helped, and Agni also provided them. And that we heard the story where how Agni provided the wonderful chariot. This chariot belonged to sun god, I think, and it was it was kept by Varuna Dev. So Varuna Dev likes to keep lots of treasures. So he keeps many different types of treasures of the demigods in his city in the ocean. So Agni asked Varuna to come and give. In this way, Arjuna received the chariot, and the chariot with the Hanuman flag, which later he will use for battle in Mahabharata war. Arjuna also received the Gandiva bow. He also received the quiver of inexhaustible arrows, where he can keep inexhaustible arrows. And at the same time, Krishna also received the Kamodaki Gada and the Sudarshan Chakra, and Arjuna also received the conch. He received the Devadatta conch from Agni. So many gifts Agni gave, even though Arjuna didn't want any of these gifts, but Krishna knew that he will need these gifts. So he told, no, you give him Agni. So then Agni, and then Krishna, actually Arjuna said, if there's anything you want to do, you can please Krishna. I don't need anything. I was simply doing a duty. So in this way, when Agni came to Krishna, Krishna said, you can give all these gifts to Arjuna. So Arjuna received all these things from. So, and Arjuna was remembering all this, I was able to fight against Indra. And Indra wasn't fighting alone. When he was fighting with Arjuna, he called his entire demigods. All of them came together to fight. And with Krishna, at that time, that was the first time Krishna was riding as a charioteer for Arjuna. He drove the chariot. Arjuna fought against Indra and the entire host of demigods, and he was victorious. So he was remembering this. How is it possible for me to do this? It's only possible because by the mercy of Krishna. And then we also heard how Maya Danava, the demon Maya, was also in that forest at that time. And he was hiding underground. But after the forest fire was finished, he came out from the underground tunnels and he started running. But Krishna immediately sent his Sudarshan Chakra after the Maya demon. But Maya demon was very intelligent. He went straight and surrendered unto Arjuna, the devotee of Lord Krishna. So just like how, and we spoke about how this story is very similar to how Ambarish Maharaj, the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. When Durvasa Muni was running in fear from the Sudarshan Chakra due to his offense against Ambarish Maharaj, he went everywhere to ask for protection, even up to Lord Vishnu. But Vishnu said, go and ask protection from Ambarish Maharaj. So in the same way, Maya Danava demon, he also, when the Sudarshan Chakra was chasing after him, he immediately went and apologized. Not apologized. He fell at the feet of Arjuna and asked for protection. So Arjuna immediately turned to Krishna and he said, this demon has taken shelter of me. Can you please not send your Sudarshan Chakra to kill him? So when a devotee of the Lord asks for a boon, immediately Lord Krishna is very pleased. So he was very pleased with Maya Danava also, because Maya Danava showed good sense by taking shelter at the shade of the lotus feet of his devotee. So in this way, Maya Danava also gave many gifts. By Krishna's behest, Krishna suggested to Maya Danava, please build a wonderful assembly hall. So Maya Danava was a very expert architect. So he only could build such a hall, which was even more beautiful than the hall which was in heaven. And therefore, due to this wonderful things, Arjuna was remembering, it's only due to Krishna's anugraha, Krishna's blessing, Krishna's gifts to me. So, and he's remembering, now Krishna is not here. I was able to do this. I was able to achieve this. I was able to receive this all by Krishna's grace. So And we also heard the pastime of how Jarasandha was killed. So Arjuna also mentioned this incident, how even the killing of Jarasandha was only possible due to the mercy of Krishna. So because Krishna gave the hint to Bhima, otherwise Bhima could not defeat Jarasandha. So we heard all this in the previous session. And then Arjuna was immediately remembering how in the situation of Draupadi, how Krishna immediately came to the rescue of Draupadi when Draupadi raised both her hands and prayed for protection from Krishna. And when Arjuna himself could not protect Draupadi, none of the five husbands of Draupadi could protect Draupadi. And such great personalities were there. The greatest personalities were there in that hall. Bhishma Dev was there, Drona was there, but none of them could protect Draupadi being disrobed. So, but Krishna immediately came. So Arjuna was remembering this incident. And again, he was thinking how only by Krishna's mercy they were able to achieve anything at all. And then he was remembering another incident about how Durvasa Muni came. Uh, Durvasa Muni came and they were saved from his curse. The Pandavas were living in the forest, so they were afraid of Durvasa Muni's curse because they were supposed to feed Durvasa Muni, but they had no means to feed Durvasa Muni because the Akshaya Patra, the special pot given to Draupadi, uh, it, it, the quota for that day was already over. So she couldn't invoke more prasadam from that pot. So what she did was immediately all the Pandavas, they prayed to Krishna, and though Krishna was in Dwaraka, immediately he was able to appear and he saved the day. We heard the story about how he saved the Pandavas from Durvasa Muni's anger. And so like this, Arjuna was remembering Krishna Anubhava. One by one, he starts to remember. And as he starts to remember, something amazing happens to Arjuna. Arjuna, being in such a despondent, terrible situation, little by little, it looks like he is beginning to get his life back. And his effulgence starts to grow little by little. So we will hear this towards the end, later part of this session, how Arjuna gets back his life back. So, but in the meanwhile, Arjuna continues his remembrance, Krishna Anubhava. So we are continuing this session today in verse 12. It was by Arjuna is speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj. It was by his influence only, O Yudhishthira Maharaj, that in a yuddha means a fight, that in a fight I was able to astonish Bhagavan Shulapane Sa Girijaha. He was able to astonish Lord Shiva because there was a pastime when Lord Shiva fought with Arjuna. So here the word is used, Bhagavan. Bhagavan is used for great personalities, extreme. Remember, initially Krishna was given the title Bhagavan, but when Narada Muni came in the previous chapters, when Narada Muni came, he was also referred to as Bhagavan, right? And we explained this previous session how the Lord and his devotees, they reflect each other. All the qualities of the Lord are minutely reflected by the pure devotees. And especially Narada, because of his association with the Supreme Lord, he was also known as Bhagavan. And in the same way, Lord Shiva is also known as Bhagavan. Not because he's the Supreme Bhagavan, not because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because he was Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Amongst all Vaishnavas, the greatest of Vaishnava is Lord Shiva. So I posted that today in the Srimad Bhagavatam Zoom invitation. You can see how amongst all the what do you call, amongst all the rivers, Ganga is the greatest. Amongst uh, amongst all the Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the greatest, and amongst all Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest. So in this way, Bhagavan Sula Panir. Sula Panir means Chula. one who holds the Shula, Trishula. Lord Shiva holds the trident, isn't it? So that's called the Shula. So Panir means holder of the Shula. Sa Girijaha. So together with his wife Parvati Devi. So Parvati, Sa means together, Girijaha. Girijaha means daughter of Giri. Giri means mountain. So who is the daughter of the mountain? Himalaya mountain. That is Parvati. Parvat also means mountain. Parvati means daughter of the mountain. So it was by his influence. So what happened was when what do you call? There was one time when the Pandavas were in the forest. They they knew that they have to somehow somehow because Bhishma had given his promise to kill all the sons of Dhritarashtra, and war was inevitable after the 14 years of exile. Yudhishthira knew that Duryodhana had no intention to give back the kingdom. Of course, the Pandavas didn't want war, but still, they have their duty as Kshatriyas to at least administer some kind of like a village or something. So, the Pandavas did go and ask, can you at least give us 5 villages so that we can perform our holy, sacred Kshatriya duty? Just villages. You don't need to give us kingdom. But Duryodhana knew that the Pandavas were very, very wonderful. Last time he divide due to Bhishma and Drona and Vidura's counsel, Dhritarashtra divided the kingdom into two. He gave all the wonderful parts of the kingdom to Duryodhana, but he gave the wasteland, the desert land, the great jungle inhabited by demons, Kandava forest and all that at that time. He gave that to Yudhishthira Maharaj. But even with that kind of a land also, by Krishna's grace and by the prowess of the Pandavas, they were able to convert that wasteland into such a capital called Indraprastha, which was as wonderful and glorious as Indra's capital, Amaravati itself. And they had this great Shaba, Maya Danava built for them, the great assembly hall. So Duryodhana was just green with envy. I gave them a wasteland so that they will rot and die, but somehow they flourished and became even 10 times greater, million times greater than whatever I have. So he was just so full of envy. So, and therefore he hatched all these various plots to kill the Pandavas and then to cheat them from their rightful heir. But he knows if I give them even a village, no village, nothing. I won't even give you a piece of land enough to drive a pin inside. Take a pin. You want to drive a pin inside the ground. How much of land do you need for that? That much of land also I will not give Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas. This is what they said. So then war was inevitable. So they needed allies because they were in the forest. Whereas Hastinapur was ruled by Duryodhana, and he had so many, all the previous allies will all be siding with Duryodhana. So we need fighters, we need things. So Arjuna was, one of the things was, Narada came and advised Yudhishthira that Arjuna should leave and go to the forest. And while Arjuna is there, he will receive all kinds of favors, boons, weapons, and all that. So, like that, this is a long story, but in one of those, in the situation happened that Arjuna finally left the forest alone, and many adventures he had, and one of the adventure was he was supposed to please Lord Shiva. He met Lord Indra at one point of time, and he asked for a boon from Lord Indra. But Lord Indra said, and the boon he asked Lord Indra was, give me your weapons. I need your celestial weapons. But Lord Indra said, I will not give you the weapons now. Later I will give you. But first you must please Lord Shiva. Then I will give you the weapons. So then what happened? Arjuna immediately didn't waste time. He went to the mountainous area and he started to do meditation on Lord Shiva. So very severe meditation, not eating at all for 1 month. and then after that, not even drinking water, and after that, just standing on one leg, and then after that, just breathing air only. So in this way, just like how Dhruva Maharaj, so in the same way, Arjuna also did great austerities, and Lord Shiva was pleased. But Lord Shiva wanted to test Arjuna, so therefore he came in disguise. Lord Shiva came in the guise of a hunter, a tribal hunter. He and Parvati Devi, they disguised themselves like tribal people, and all his ghostly creatures and all that, they also disguised themselves as tribal people, and they came, and there was a wild boar which was running. So immediately when the wild boar was running, Arjuna knocked an arrow to shoot that wild boar, because wild boar is a wild creature, and Kshatriyas, they have a duty to protect the forest from wild creatures for the benefit of the sages. So he was shooting it, and when what happened was two arrows came and hit the wild boar. So one arrow came from Arjuna, and another arrow came from this tribal hunter who was actually Lord Shiva in disguise. So then Arjuna became angry. He said, "Who are you to shoot when I am shooting? Do you not know the etiquette of Kshatriyas? Do you not know the etiquette in hunting? You do not aim for the same target another person is aiming." And then the tribal leader said, he laughed at Arjuna. He said, who are you coming and saying don't know the etiquette? It was because of my arrow only that this boar was killed. Your arrow wouldn't have been able to do anything. So like that, he incited Arjuna to become angry a bit. So what happened eventually? It led to a fight. So Arjuna started attacking this tribal hunter. The tribal hunter challenged Arjuna also. Let's fight. If you're so great, come fight with me. So like that, they started fighting. But whatever arrows and weapons that Arjuna used to throw on this tribal hunter, none of it was working. It just seemed to enter into that person and disappear. So he was very astonished. Wow, I've never seen any person like this. Usually it'll harm or the weapons will not. But these weapons are all being absorbed into this tribal hunter. And when he realized that, when he thought deeply enough while he was fighting, of course, he fought very, very wonderfully. He used all his skills to fight, and Lord Shiva was very pleased with this fighting. And he gave the understanding to Arjuna that he is not an ordinary person. Then Arjuna immediately realized, oh, I think this must be Lord Shiva himself who has come. So what he did, immediately he stopped fighting. He went and constructed a small linga from the earth, and he started performing abhishek and prayers and flowers to that Lord, to that linga. As soon as he as soon as he put flowers on the linga, he saw that the flowers were dropping on the tribal man's head. So then he realized, you are indeed Lord Shiva, and he gave his obeisances. And Lord Shiva also showed himself in his form as Trisulapani, the holder of the three trident, and he blessed him. Arjuna was remembering this, and so his Arjuna is saying, thus he, Lord Shiva, became pleased with me and awarded me his own ashram. So in this way, Lord Shiva gave as a gift to Arjuna. He said, I'm very pleased with you, Arjuna. You fought very wonderfully. Indeed, no one else on earth can fight as well as you. So by Lord Shiva's blessings, he received that. And Lord Shiva also gave him his own weapon, Pashupata, the Pashupata weapon. Lord Shiva carries a very powerful weapon called Pashupata weapon. And he gave that weapon to Arjuna. So his own ashram. So like that, we can see Girija and Lord Shiva, Parvati and Lord Shiva, they were both there and they blessed Arjuna. So and Arjuna was remembering this. I was at one time, I was able to fight Lord Shiva and I was able to astonish him. So, but at that time, he never thought further. But now he's remembering, right? After he fought with Lord Shiva, then as per the promise of Indra, Indra said, right, you fight with Lord Shiva. Once Lord Shiva gives you his weapons, then I will also give you all my weapons. So in the same way, all the other demigods also delivered their respective weapons to me. So all the Brahmastra, celestial weapons, everything came to possession of Arjuna. And so you can see here, Indra giving the Vajra weapon. Indra carries the lightning weapon, Vajra weapon, and that was given to Arjuna. So, and Prabhupada is saying, oh, sorry, before that, and in addition, I was able to reach Mahindra Bhavane. So, how did he receive these weapons? By the potency of his austerities, he received a blessing also. And with that, that blessing, I can't remember who gave that blessing, but that blessing allows him to travel to any place in the universe. And therefore, he traveled instantly to Indraloka to meet Indra, and in this way to receive the weapon. So that's how they received the weapon. And when Arjuna came to heaven, normally when human beings go to heaven, there is a protocol. In Indra Loka, there's a protocol, just like kings in Malaysia, there's a protocol, upachara. So certain people are given certain types of seat. So if it's a human being, he is given a seat which is not raised, which is on the floor. Just like, when we go to temple, we see Maharajas sitting on the Vyasasana, we sit on the floor. So we don't sit at the same level as the speaker of the Vyasasana. So similarly, when he went to heaven, if human beings were visiting heaven somehow, they would be given a seat which is on the floor. Whereas the Devas will be sitting on a raised Vyasasana. But Indra, when Arjuna came to visit Indra, Arjuna was given an half elevated seat. That means he was raised from the floor, but not at the level of Devas, because then that will be insulting to the Devas. So he was given a half raised seat. Mahat Ashan Ardham. So Mahat means the great half raised seat. So it's a very, very great honor. No one before this, maybe there was, but very few, very, very few people, human beings, were given this kind of honor when they went to heaven. So he went to Mahindra Bhavane, Maha Indra, the great Lord Indra, and he entered into his house. And while he was there, he was allowed to have a half-raised asan. So this was the honor, this was the great glory and the great honor that Arjuna received. Arjuna is remembering all this. So meanwhile, Prabhupada gives some purport. So Prabhupada is saying, one can achieve all favors simply by pleasing the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Arjuna at that time didn't realize that all these wonderful feats that he was able to do, astonish Lord Shiva, receive all these celestial weapons, get great, great honor from all these in heavenly denizens, all only by the mercy of Krishna. He didn't realize all this previously. He was, Yoga Maya covered it for the sake of pastimes. But when Krishna was no longer present, he started to realize this. So Prabhupada is mentioning that one can achieve all favors simply by pleasing the Supreme Lord. The present attempts to enter into the heavenly planet by the modern scientists will certainly prove futile because such scientists are not on the level of Arjuna. They are ordinary human beings without any assets of sacrifice, charity, or austerities. So Prabhupada is establishing here very clearly that one cannot enter into the heavenly planets. What are the heavenly planets? The sun planet, the moon planet, the various planets like Mars and all these other planets. You can't enter them. So nowadays we see, scientists, they claim that they have attained the moon. They claim they have gone here, they have gone there. But these claims are not really, it's just claims. So basically, and even if they did go, they were not able to see anything. So for example, what is their experience of going to the moon? nothing but just gray rocks, or so they say. Anyway, there's lots of controversies on that, whether the scientists really did go or not. So we'll not go into that. But the point is, even if they claim that they did go, they were not able to see anything. They were not able to achieve anything, right? Probably they went to a wrong place. So anyway, the point is that human beings can't enter into higher planetary systems simply by mechanical arrangement. They have to have assets. They have to collect the necessary assets of sacrifice, charity, or austerity. And then Arjuna is remembering further. When I stayed there in Indraloka, in Mahendra Bhavan, in the house of Indra, when I stayed there for some days as a guest, all the heavenly demigods, including King Indradeva, took shelter of my arms, which were marked with the Gandiva bow. So what happened was Indra, he had, Indra being the king of heaven, he is always insecure in his position because he is always attacked by the demons. So he had, but he managed to defeat many of the other demons previously. His long history, so many yugas. In Satya Yuga, he fought. In Treta Yuga, he fought. In Dwapara Yuga, he fought. But there were one group of demons which he fought during the Treta Yuga, which were very, very powerful, but he could not defeat them because they themselves were very powerful, but they also allied with Ravana. At that time, Ravana was able to defeat this group of demons, and he brought them under his control. And together they terrorized the entire heavenly planets. But after Ravana's death, these demons who lived in a different place, they were still there, the group of demons. And despite Indra's attempts, he could not kill them because these demons had special boon blessing from Lord Brahma that Indra could not kill these demons. So, but Indra, he was asking this favor from Arjuna because Brahma told Indra that when your son comes as a representative of yourself, then in that way you will be able to kill these demons. So Arjuna is actually Lord Indra's son, right? Kunti Devi invoked Indra with the mantra given to her by Durvasa Muni, and the son that was produced was Arjuna. So actually, Arjuna, in that sense, was coming from Indra Dev. So Indra therefore asked a favor from Arjuna to go and kill these demons. So here Arjuna is remembering how Arjuna, he was so, for a Kshatriya, to get this kind of request from not normal people, but from the Devatas themselves, from the king of heaven himself, who was so powerful, they came and asked this favor from Arjuna. Can you imagine? That is like a big honor for a Kshatriya. Such an honor for a Kshatriya. Very few kings had such honor at that in the history of human race, right? One of them was Dasharath. Another one was King Katwanga, King Sibi. Like that, there are some kings, but Arjuna was one of them. Arjuna remembers the Devatas asked Arjuna's favor to kill this special demon called Nivata Kavacha. Actually, this Nivata Kavacha is not just one demon, it's actually 30 million demons. It's a lot of demons. Sometimes they will come together as one. So, and this Nivata Kavacha demon, they are very special demons. It's said that they have very powerful magic. They were able to, their magic is as powerful as the demigods, and they use these magical powers to bewilder their enemies. They were able to change shape, they were able to change their size, they can look same just like everybody else, or they can look different. So like this, they have all kinds of secret powers. They are the children of Kashyapa and Diti. Demons are all children of Kashyapa and Diti. So 30 million of them. And they managed to catch hold of one of the most beautiful cities of heaven, Manishmati. In heaven, Amravati is the capital of Indraloka. But before Amravati was the capital, Manishmati Manimati was even more beautiful than Amravati. And Indra used to have lots of wonderful pastimes in this Manimati. But these Nivacha Kavacha demons, they went and conquered this Manimati. So this Manimati was underwater in the heavenly waters, in the heavenly ocean. It was underwater. It was submerged underwater heaven. And so, therefore, Arjuna went in search of this Manimati kingdom, and, and he used the same chariot, and he used the Gandiva bow, and he went alone. So, but he didn't have a charioteer because Krishna was on earth. While he was on earth, Krishna was his charioteer during the Kandava forest time. But in heaven, so therefore, Indra gave his own charioteer, Matali. Matali was Indra's charioteer. So he acted as a charioteer. And he knew the way to go to Manismati. And in this way, Arjuna went to Manimati. And immediately when he went, the entire group of demons, all 30 million of them, rose up into the air and came to attack Arjuna. And Arjuna was going through a very terrible fight. So, in that fight is described in the scriptures. Lots of different things happened. Great fire, all kinds of illusion, very scary things happened. But in the end, Arjuna killed all of these demons and he managed to win. So they were destined to die, all these demons. After so many yuga, after serving Ravana and all that, finally these demons met their match. Arjuna was able to kill all of them. So, O king, descendant of Ajamida, so Arjuna is speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Ajamida is one of the ancestors of the Pandavas, was a very great righteous king. So therefore, Arjuna is speaking to Yudhishthira. Oh, Yudhishthira Maharaj, present moment. So I was able to do so many things. I was able to astonish Lord Shiva. I received unprecedented glory from Indra. I was able to defeat all the Nivata Kavacha demons, which even Indra couldn't defeat, right? But, O king, at the present moment, I am bereft of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose influence I was so powerful. Arjuna has come to his senses. He has realized that whatever that he was able to attain and achieve was only by the influence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. And then in this way he continues. The military strength of the Kauravas was like an ocean in which there dwelled many invincible existences. So during the Mahabharata war, the Pandavas were outnumbered. Their battalion, they only had 7 battalions, whereas the Kauravas had 11 battalions. So 7-11. So that's how the name came. So anyway, so what happened was they were outnumbered. Not only they were outnumbered, they had extremely very powerful people. Because, if you remember, they had Krishna's army in the Kaurava side. Krishna's one battalion was Krishna's army, and though they were known as the Narayanas, all very powerful fighters. Not only them, there was great personalities who cannot be defeated in battle. Like, right, later Arjuna will mention them. So the military strength of the Kauravas was so great, so vast, millions and millions of warriors. So, and in that ocean of the Kaurava army, there dwelled many invincible existences, many powerful, invincible generals and fighters were there, like Bhishma, Drona, and all that. And thus it was insurmountable. Anantaparam. To overcome that ocean of Kaurava army was insurmountable. But yet, right, what happened? Yet, but because of his friendship, Yat Bandavaha, Arjuna requested Krishna to be his charioteer. And out of friendship, Krishna agreed to be with Arjuna. So wherever Krishna is, and where is Krishna? Krishna is in the side of Arjuna. in the side of the Pandavas. And in this way, all the great generals of the Kauravas knew how this war was going to end. They told Duryodhana. Duryodhana will ask, "Who will win? Who will win? We are so powerful. We are so powerful." But each time, Bhishma, Dronacharya, even to Dhritarashtra, Sanjaya said the same thing also. Wherever there is Yatra Yogeshwara, wherever there is Arjuna, the great archer, there will always be victory. Right? So Arjuna is realizing this. But because of his friendship, Yad Bandavaha, I, seated on the chariot, was able to cross over this ocean of Kaurava army. Right? By Krishna's grace. So Krishna blows the conch, indicating victory. So Arjuna is remembering, and he remembers further. Only by Krishna's grace was I able to regain the cows and also collect by force many helmets of the kings, which were bedecked with jewels that were source of all brilliance. Here, Arjuna is referring to that time when they were in the forest. After 13 years in the forest, you know how devious Duryodhana was. Not enough that they have to go to forest for 13 years. He made a condition that on the 14th year, you will go into hiding and we will search you out. If we can find you and we find you within that 14th year, then you again have to go to the forest for 13 years. This was the condition set by the devious, merciless Arjuna to these wonderful Pandavas. So the Pandavas had to do that. On the 13th year, they went incognito. Incognito means went into hiding. So where they went, they all went to this kingdom of Virata. So Virata, in that kingdom, they all took different roles. This is where Yudhishthira Maharaj came as he came to the king as an advisor to the king, like a minister. So he was in disguise in that way. And then Arjuna, his disguise was the best because he went as a eunuch. Because he received a curse from Urvasi. He received a curse from Urvasi while he was in heaven that you will for 1 year you will become a eunuch. Eunuch means a man without the what you call male reproductive organs. In those days, sometimes they used to have these people where they castrate the reproductive organs of the male when they are born, and then they use them to serve as guards for the princess. So they used to have in China, they used to have in India also, they used to have. But anyway, so Urvasi cursed Arjuna that he'll become a eunuch. So in this way, he was able to become the dance teacher of the daughter of the king of Virata. Forgot her name. Forgot her name. Anyway, Uttara, I think. No.
Yeah, Uttara.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Prabhu.
Yes, Uttara. Uttara later.
Parchit wife.
Yes. He
sorry, Abhimanyu wife.
Abhimanyu, correct. Later, she will become the wife of Abhimanyu. So anyway, he became the dance teacher of Uttara. How he could become dance teacher? Because he was a eunuch. Otherwise, those days they protected the chastity of the lady very carefully. So they won't allow ladies to mix with men. So Arjuna managed to. So they tested Arjuna. The king wouldn't accept Arjuna's words. They actually sent people to go and see whether really he was a eunuch or not. So all this Arjuna had to go through. But anyway, it lasted for 1 year and the curse all came very useful. So, but what happened was this Virata, while they were there, somehow their activities of the Pandavas, even though they were trying to lie low, it attracted the attention of some of the spies of the Kauravas. Duryodhana, he sent spies everywhere to every kingdom to try to find out. So the spies came and told there is this person who managed to kill one person in the Virata kingdom, the brother of Uttara, and this brother was very strong and powerful. And the way the person was killed, it looked like as if Bhima only could have killed that person. So, but So then in this way, Duryodhana got the idea, oh, maybe the Pandavas are in the Matsya kingdom in Virata. So he said, okay. So he, together with all his Sakuni and Karna and all, they hatched a plot. How can we flush out these Pandavas before the 14th year is over? So they thought, okay, what we will do, we will go, this king of Virata, he had many, many cows. So what we will do, we will go and steal all his cows. So, and when they steal all the cows, Virata king will have to come with his army, and he will have to fight us. So when he fights us, he cannot win against us. We are too powerful because we have Bhishma and all these things. So he will, if it's true that the Pandavas are hiding in that kingdom, they will somehow be honor bound to defend this king Virata. So when they come to fight, even though when they are disguised, we will be able to see how they fight, and we will be able to recognize them. And then again, they have to go back to the forest. So this is how, you know, the cruel and deceitful mind of Duryodhana was. So therefore, they did it. They went and stole all the cows. So anyway, long story. I don't want to go too much into that story. The point was, in the end, uh, Arjuna, he alone came and he alone defeated the entire Kaurava army. But at that time, he was able to defeat Bhishma, he was able to defeat Drona, he was able to defeat Karna single-handedly, just one person. So it was very wonderful. If you read the Mahabharata, the conversation that takes place between Bhishma, Drona, and Duryodhana, just when Arjuna is about to come to fight. So at that time, Arjuna revealed himself, and he was able to reveal himself. And Duryodhana was very happy. Aha, we caught him there. Arjuna is there. Now they're finished. They have to go back to the forest for 13 years. But at that time, Bhishma told them, not so. Because at the time that he came, the correct calendar calculation, you have calculated the time wrongly. This is a leap year. And because of the leap year, you are some months short. So actually, the year has already finished. So Arjuna is already finished. The year of exile is already finished. And even though Arjuna came out, uh, he has actually satisfied the condition that you have set. So they don't have to go to the forest. So Duryodhana was very upset. Yeah, this again and again, this Bhishma, you know, he will always try to find some loopholes to support them. But okay, anyway, so fight. But when they were fighting, Bhishma was saying, look at Arjuna. You know, they Bhishma and Drona and all, they haven't seen the Pandavas for 13 years. And they had so much affection for Arjuna that when they saw Arjuna Partha coming, and he said, you cannot win, Duryodhana. Look at Partha. No, he's shining with effulgence. The effulgence of 13 years of austerities in the forest, the effulgence of 1 year of celibacy while he was away from the Pandavas camp, and his effulgence of collecting all the ashras from Lord Shiva, from Indra. He looks so wonderful and majestic and powerful. You cannot hope to win. And Dronacharya was also saying the same thing. And Dronacharya is a Brahmana, and he said, by my expert calculation of the astrology, the time is not right for you to win. If we fight at this situation, the influence of the stars indicates that we will lose. Arjuna cannot be defeated in this particular moment. So like that, and they did fight. But before they fought also, Arjuna took obeisances of his seniors. Arjuna was also very, very, very extremely happy to finally see Bhishma, Dronacharya, and all of them. So their affection was so great that Arjuna knew he has his duty, but he first, before he fought, he shot 2 arrows, and each of these arrows landed at the feet of Bhishma, at the feet of Dronacharya, at the feet of the other generals which he was, you know. So in this way, Bhishma immediately can understand. Dronacharya could immediately understand. See here, Partha, Arjuna is taking obeisances from us. He's taking our permission before he engages us in this Kshatriya warfare. So in this way, Bhishma raised his hands in blessing, Dronacharya raised his hands in blessing, and they blessed Arjuna, may you be victorious. So in that way, Arjuna was victorious. But again, all this happened only by the maneuvering of Krishna. Krishna was like behind all the scenes and he was pulling the strings. So, and belatedly, when Krishna is no longer present on earth, Arjuna begins to realize actually it was by the grace of Krishna that I was able to defeat all of them. So, and he defeated all of them and he collected their helmets and the jewels from all the warriors. And in this way, he protected Virata. Arjuna is remembering this person. Yeah? So then Arjuna continues from the great Ratha Mandala made by the Kauravas. So he's again remembering the Mahabharata war. So when the great Mahabharata war was taking place, the generals of the Kauravas during the first 10 days, Bhishma was the general. So Bhishma, he was expert and he created such military formations which could not be defeated. But still, so therefore, these military formations or Radha Mandala, Radha means the chain of chariots or military phalanx, which they created were so formidable. So and in those amongst those ranks, there were great personalities like Bhishma, Icha Mrityur. He had the boon of Icha Mrityur. That means no one can kill him unless he wants to die. How to win against such a person? And this Bhishma had the blessings from Parashuram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, in his incarnation as Parashuram, that you will be undefeated in battle, right? So such great blessings Bhishma has received. And in this war, Bhishma was not having the great, in earlier Bhishma's affection allowed him to agree to be defeated by Arjuna, right? But now in this battle, they were going to go full force. And then there was Karna, another great warrior. He also received so many special weapons, and he was also a great fighter. Dronacharya, when he was born, he was also given a benediction that so long as he lifted his weapons in readiness, no one will be able to defeat him. So such personalities were there. And there was another personality called Salya. Salya was the king of Madras, and he was one of the relatives of Pandavas. It's a very sad story that Salya is on the other side. What happened was Salya was tricked to be on the other side. So I won't go into that story, but anyway, he was tricked. And when he was tricked, he had no choice because he had given his word. Kshatriyas have to keep to their word because he is an honorable Kshatriya. So he had to fight on the other side. So you see, Bhishma, Drona, Salya all had affection for Pandavas, and all of them were caught on the other side. But still, they were all great personalities. And on top of that, they were also supported by many great royal princes. Like for example, the Narayana phalanx battalion, the armies of Dwaraka, they were all in the Kaurava side. Great royal princes were there. So the arrangement was expert and more than adequate. So the military formation, the military precision, all of that was excellent, imperfect, in fact. But somehow, not somehow, but by the grace, it was he only, Krishna only, who by the glance of Krishna, he withdrew from everyone in the battlefield. What he withdrew? He withdrew four things. He withdrew their ayu. Ayu means their life. By their glance, already they were killed, right? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? In chapter 10, universal form, when chapter 11, when Krishna shows his universal form, Arjuna saw how all these great generals, all these people were all entering into the mouth of the Virat Rupa, being crushed and destroyed by the teeth, meaning that they all were going to die. That means they are already killed, time only separating. So it was he only who, by his glance alone, withdrew from everyone in their battlefield their ayu. He also withdrew from them their sahaha, speculative power. Their intelligence became bewildered. They lost their intelligence in different ways, right? He withdrew from them their manamsi. Manamsi means their enthusiasm, the morale or the enthusiasm to fight. He also withdrew from them their ojaha, strength, and their potency. So all this was figuratively speaking, but actually this was all the plan of the Lord. He already decided the fate of the Mahabharata war. This was his plan. So by the mercy of Krishna, by the glance. So he did all these things while going forward. So as Krishna was driving the chariot in front of Arjuna, by casting his glance at all of them, he was simply able to uh, surmount all the difficulties which Arjuna was talking about, even though these were such great personalities. So Arjuna continues, great generals like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Durishrava, he's another great fighter, Tusarma, Salya we mentioned already, Jayadratha got a boon from Lord Shiva. He was also very envious of the Pandavas, and he also went and did austerities, and he invoked Lord Shiva, and he asked Lord Shiva, please allow me to kill the Pandavas. But Lord Shiva says, no, the Pandavas cannot be killed because they are protected by Achyuta. So even I cannot kill who Achyuta protects. Then, but then say, but I did my austerity and you have come. So then, okay, fine. If you cannot kill them, at least give me the power to defeat them. And then Shiva said, you cannot defeat them because they are much, much more powerful. But because you have done this austerity and you have invoked me, I will give you the blessing that you will be able to stop all of them from advancing once in your life. So one time you have the boon where you will not be able, where you will be able to stop them. Even Arjuna comes also, somehow by my power, you will be able to check him from, he cannot cross over you, he cannot pass over you. You will be able to hold him in battle one time. So that was the blessing. And of course, he also got the blessing that, like just like demons like to ask blessings where, nobody, the person who kills me, because Jayadratha was always very scared that Arjuna will kill him. Because he kidnapped, what Jayadratha did? He went and kidnapped Draupadi from the forest. So, and when he was he kidnapped, just like how Ravana kidnapped Sita. In this way, Jayadratha kidnapped Draupadi, and he ran. The Pandavas were chasing after him, but somehow eventually Jayadratha was defeated, and he was embarrassed. But his life was saved because Draupadi said, "Don't harm him," and Yudhishthira Maharaj also said, "Okay, fine." So, but Jayadratha, he was always scared that Arjuna will one day kill him. So he wanted to, he knows he cannot kill Arjuna, and he knows he can only stop Arjuna, and he also knows that one day he's going to die from Arjuna. So he thought, if Arjuna was going to kill me, let me take the blessings from you, Lord Shiva, that whoever kills me, whoever causes my head to be cut off, when my head touches the ground, the person who caused this to happen to my head, he will die. So he thought he was being very clever. He thought Arjuna will be able, when Arjuna kills him by severing his head, when the head hits the ground, Arjuna will die. But that also Krishna managed to circumvent, right? So when Jayadratha was killed, Arjuna shot the arrow in such a way that by Krishna's instruction, Krishna instructed Arjuna shoot the arrow in such a way that you will send the head flying into the lap of his father. So the head fell on the lap of Jayadratha's father, who was also a demon. And in this way, the father of Jayadratha died instead of Arjuna. So that was how the curse was countered. So very, very, very interesting Mahabharata, right? So Arjuna was remembering this. Arjuna was remembering such great generals were all there. Balika is Bhishma Dev's father's brother. Oh, very powerful warrior also. All they are directed their invincible weapons. Amoga Mahimani, they all gave their invincible weapons. You can see this picture, Bhishma shooting all the weapons. Bhishma also had celestial weapons. So Amoga Mahimani, the greatest powerful weapons were all being thrown at me and against my chariot. But by his grace, they could not even touch a hair on my head. So this is the protection of Krishna. Krishna, when he wants to protect a pure devotee, nothing can harm the pure devotee despite his whatever he tries. Right? Like Arjuna remembers, just like Narahari Dasha, the servant of Narahari. Who's Narahari? Narsinghadev. Who's the servant of Narsinghadev? Prahlad Maharaj. Just like how the boy Prahlad, supreme devotee of Lord Narsimhadeva, was unaffected by the weapons the demons used against him. So in the same way, Arjuna is remembering how nothing could harm him so long as Krishna was present with him, despite facing the greatest of warnings, and by Krishna's grace. It was only by his anubhava, by his mercy, only that my enemies neglected to kill me when I descended from my chariot to get water for my thirsty horses. So that's the weak point of a in a war. Bhishma even said, never did I come across a battle where the outcome is certain. Even if in battle is like the great dice throw, anything can happen in a battle. Even if we think that we will win for sure, a battle is always, there is a random element there, a wild card element always present. So like for example, when somebody is when the horses are thirsty, when they get down from the chariot unprotected to give water in the middle of the fight, right? This can happen. So at that time, any stray arrows or whatever could kill Arjuna because his attention is diverted. So it was only by his anubhava, by his mercy, that my enemies neglected to kill me. Because the Kauravas, they were already acting in a very cowardly manner. They killed Abhimanyu in a cowardly manner, unfair manner. So they wouldn't hesitate to act in unfair manner to kill Arjuna. Arjuna knew this. But somehow Krishna, remember what Krishna did? He withdrew four things. He withdrew their life, he withdrew their potency, strength, oja. He also withdrew their saha. Saha means he confounded them. They lost their intelligence at certain points. And it was due to my lack of esteem for my Lord that I dared engage him as my chariot driver. Arjuna is realizing now, it was due to my lack of esteem for my Lord that I dared to engage him as my chariot driver. So again, this is Yoga Maya potency, because Krishna likes to experience sweet relationship with his devotees. So Yoga Maya covers the intelligence of the devotees so that they forget Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But now that Krishna is not present, Arjuna has come to his senses and he's like, mortified. Oh my goodness, I dared engage him as my chariot driver. Can you imagine the feeling that you will have? So Arjuna, as he's thinking of all these things, his body and his mind is going through a transformation. He's getting into ecstasy, just remembering one by one, level by level, all of these pastimes. So Arjuna is continuing, for he is worshipped this person who I dare to engage as my chariot driver, this person is worshipped and offered services, bhajanti, right, by the best men, Bhavyaha, the greatest of sages. You know, they have all attained salvation, Padapatmam Abhavaya, the lotus feet of him, simply by offering seva to him. And look what I have done. I have taken seva from that person. I should be giving seva to him. Arjuna is mortified. So he's remembering how, you know, in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, after hearing from Krishna, his illusion was lost. He was able to see Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? He was saying, Ahustam Rishaya, you know, before that he was saying, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, you are the Param Brahma, the Supreme Person. You are the Param Dhamma, the Supreme Abode. You are Pavitram, the Supreme Purifier. You are Paramam Bhavan. You are the goal of everything. You are Purusham Shashvatam Divyam. You are the Supreme Person and who you are the oldest and you are transcendental. You are Adi Devam, the original God. You are Ajam, without birth. You are Vibhum, the greatest. So in this way, Arjuna remembers saying all these things in, you know, during the Bhagavad Gita conversation. He said this to Krishna. And then he says, not only I am saying this, Ahustvam Rishaya Sarved. Not only I am saying this, all the rishis are also saying the same thing. Deva Rishi, Narada, Achito, Devala, Vyasa, all of them are saying the same thing, that you are the Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Param Pavitram. And you are worshipped by all these people, right? So here we can show pictures. You can see how Indradev is worshipping Lord Krishna after he also became bewildered, you know, the Govardhan pastime. After that, he came to his senses. He worshipped Lord Krishna, the greatest of the celestials. And then the greatest of the living beings on in this universe, Lord Brahma, he is also worshipping Lord Krishna, right? Lord Shiva, the Lord of the material creation, he is also worshipping Lord Krishna, right? Bhagavatam says, Vaishnavanam yata shambhu. So the best men, all the best people worship, and I have had the temerity to keep him as my chariot driver. So Arjuna was, you know, cooking. His joking and frank talks were pleasing and beautifully decorated with smiles. So now Arjuna is remembering Krishna's amazing, what do you call, amazing exchange of loving relationship. How it was simply by Krishna's loving relationship with me that I was able to do all these things. So he comes to his senses. He says, Krishna used to joke with me, not Krishna used to joke with me. I used to joke with Krishna, with that Supreme Param Brahman. And his face was always decorated with beautiful smiles. Madhava's addresses unto me. Madhava used to address me as Hey Partha, Hey Sake, my friend, Nandana, and all such touching heartiness. It was also so touching, this relationship. Have such a relationship with the Supreme Param Brahman. All word is used, Hridi Sprushani, very heartfelt relationship. Are all now remembered, Smartuhu, remembered by me. I remember all these things by Krishna's grace, by Yoga Maya's potency, right? And thus I am overwhelmed. Arjuna's voice breaks. He is overwhelmed with emotions, remembering the amazing experience that he has had. So now comes this part of the chapter where Arjuna begins to remember the loving relationship. Previously, he was remembering his great potency, how much he was able to achieve, what kind of honor that he was able to attain simply by the grace of Krishna. Now he begins to remember Krishna's loving relationship with Arjuna. So he becomes overwhelmed. So very quickly, we'll just go through these parts. Generally, both of us used to live together, used to sleep in the same bed sometimes. We used to sit and loiter and dine together. So, of course, Arjuna's relationship with Krishna was as a friend, very close friend. So, this is how they used to behave as close friends. So now Arjuna is realizing that, oh my goodness, all this while Krishna was the Supreme Lord. And at that time of this kind of relationship, amongst friends, sometimes we will joke, we will, criticize each other in a joking manner. So at the time of advertising oneself for acts of chivalry, sometimes if there were any irregularity, I used to reproach him by saying, my friend, you are very truthful. So, sometimes they will talk about, oh, my friend, this happened to me, that happened to me. I was able to do this, I was able to do that. They used to joke like that, Kshatriyas, warriors, they used to speak like that with each other. And jokingly, Arjuna will say, oh, you are being very truthful, Krishna. Actually, Arjuna is thinking Krishna is lying or Krishna is over embellishing something. But he didn't realize that, this is all, this is my etiquette. I was speaking to the Supreme Lord in this way. So, but still, Krishna, even in those hours when his value was minimized, Arjuna is saying, even when I used to minimize Krishna's value, I used to minimize his glory. I used to say you are just lying and things like that. He being the supreme soul, Paramatma, he could understand the friendship mellows which is in my heart. And he used to tolerate all those utterings of mine, excusing me, exactly as a true friend excuses his true friend, or a father excuses his son. So this was the beautiful, loving relationship of the Supreme Lord with his pure devotee. And Krishna and Arjuna is remembering that. Oh Emperor, now I am separated from Purushottama, this personality who used to do all these things with me, who used to stay with me, who used to eat with me, who used to joke with me, who used to tolerate all my witty criticisms, which I was thinking, this person who had covered so much of 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 affection towards me, my Sakya Priyana, my dear most close friend, right? My ever well-wisher, Suhurda, my closest Sakya means friend, Priyana means dearmost. I am now separated from Purushottama. I'm now separated from my dearmost friend. And therefore, my heart is all vacant. Sunyayitam Jagat Sharvam, just like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Sikshastakam. And he uses the word, Arjuna uses the word Hridayena Sunyaha. His Hridaya means heart. His heart is Sunya, empty, zero. In his absence, and now he tells Yudhishthira, in his absence, I have been defeated by a number of infidel cowherd men while I was guarding the bodies of all the wives of Krishna. So now he begins to little by little reveal what has happened with Krishna and his family. So first he reveals he who managed to fight Indra, who managed to fight Shiva, who managed to defeat Nivachakavacha demons, who managed to defeat the Kauravas, the Bhishma and Drona, he was defeated by mere atheistic cowherd men, simply cowherd men, right? Simply those who are carrying sticks, even not even swords. He was defeated by them, and I was guarding the bodies of the wives of Krishna. What happened to me? I, the very same me, who have the very same Gandiba bow, the same arrows by the same chariot drawn by the same horses, and I use them as the same Arjuna whom all the kings offered their due respect. What to speak of kings? Even the devatas offered due respect, right? So Arjuna is saying, I have been defeated by just cowherd men when Krishna was no longer present on. Prabhupada says here, therefore one should not be puffed up by borrowed plums. This is a English saying. We should not be puffed up by borrowed plumes. Plumes means like feathers. We should not get somebody else's feathers and think we are very wonderful. So he's trying to remind all of us, just like how Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yat Yat Vibhutimat Sattvam Urjita Yat Yat Vibhutimat Sattvam. Forgot the second part. But that verse says, Krishna is saying, everything that is wonderful and wondrous and great or powerful or beautiful in this creation, everything is simply but a spark coming from me. So in this way, we should understand that the ability in man, the ability in all of us is simply the anugraha of the Lord. So if we are wonderful in any way, if we are great in any way, if you are a great cook or if you are a great person, great in doing something, whatever, it is simply an iota, a small fragment of the blessings of the Lord. So we should always remember to put our gratitude to the Lord in every achievement that we have. So that is the lesson here with Arjuna is mentioning. And we should never forget the Lord in every glory, in everything that happens. And then Arjuna continues, but in the absence of Isha, in the absence of Lord Krishna, all of them at a moment's notice have become null and void. What all of them? All my Gandiva bow, my arrows, my chariots, my horses, all the wonderful glories, my weapons, my prowess, my ability, everything has become null and void. Asat, right? When Isha was absent, when the controller, when the Supreme Lord was absent. So it's a nice poem here. Alone, Lord, but for thee. I am alone except for you. Of course, the Lord is there in the Paramatma. But these incidents are all happening because, Krishna wants us to learn from all this aspect. Arjuna continues, it is exactly like offering clarified butter on ashes. If you have a yagya pit, the fire is already burnt out, finished already, all ashes. What is the point of putting ghee on it? So in the same way, Krishna is not there. What is the point of all our prowess, of all of our ability? Whatever that we do is all pointless if Krishna is not there. So in this, like Prabhupada used to give this example, every ability that we have is like zero. We have a collection of zeros. We have 10 abilities, so we have 10 zeros, for example. If Krishna is the one, if that one is not there in front of the zero is just meaningless. It's all zero. The zero will have value if you put a one in front of the zero, right? If you have 1 0, you put a 1, it becomes 10. If you have 10 zeros, you put a 1, it becomes million. So therefore, Krishna is that number one, numero uno. Without Krishna, everything else is useless, pointless. One can have the world, one can own the world, but one without Krishna, it is pointless. It's a Christian saying also in the Bible. What profiteth man if he gains the whole world, but if he loses his soul? Right? What's the profit of gaining the whole world if you lose your connection with the super soul? And then Arjuna continues, it's like pouring ghee into ashes, or just like accumulating money with a magic wand, because the money will just disappear. If you collect money with a magic wand, suddenly you see it, suddenly the money will disappear. Huh? Or sowing seeds on a barren land. If you throw seeds on a barren land, nothing will happen. We may put our effort, we may toil the land, we may dig the land, we may put seed, we may put fertilizer, but the land must cooperate. right? The weather must cooperate. So this is not in our control. The Lord is the ultimate controller. This is the topic of chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita, right? Ultimately, there are five controllers in the destiny of human beings, and the topmost is the Lord. Without the Lord, you can have every other factor, but if the Lord decides no, nothing will work. Just like a child builds sand castles, right? So Prabhupada gives the point, material civilization without the blessing of the Lord is child's play only. Human civilization and all activities thereof must be dovetailed with the supreme blessing of the Lord, and without this blessing, all advancement of human civilization is like decoration on a dead body. Because that's the point, right? Just like you build castles, but the waves of time will erase everything. It's just karma. It continues eternally. But if we dovetail all our activities in the service of the Lord, then it becomes yoga in connection with the Supreme. So that is the point. O King, since you have asked me about our friends and relatives in the city of Dwaraka, I will inform you. This will be in the next session, part 4, right? So today we end here with this chant. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So any questions or doubts, anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes,
In
Prabhu.
today's lesson,
Hmm.
two things have to remember. Number one, Indra took advantage of Arjuna when he went to the spiritual world to kill the demon Nivataka Varsha, to kill the demon. He took the advantage because I think he knew Arjuna is a friend of Krishna. He
Yep.
can succeed anything, anywhere, anytime. So he took the advantage. Secondly, when Sri Krishna, the Lord, the Supreme Lord left our planet, Arjuna was powerless. So what Sri Krishna did, he took away the power.
Yep.
When he was here, he was guiding you. When he was on the planet, he was guiding Arjuna to you how to use the power or not to misuse. Am I right to say all this, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's there because Krishna wanted, Krishna uses his pure devotees to teach us what is the purpose of pure devotees doing all these things. Because these Pandavas, they come from the spiritual world. They have no karma. Whatever suffering, whatever they're going through, whatever defeats and everything, there's no karma involved. They don't have to go through these things. But the Lord enacts these pastimes. He creates these pastimes and he chooses his pure devotees to be in these pastimes for various reasons. One reason is so that he wants to have a relationship with his devotees. So these are all different ways in which he relishes and enjoys. He's the supreme enjoyer. And in the same way, the pure devotees who have always wanted to have such relationship, they also get a chance to have this relationship with the Lord, and they are also enjoying the bliss. That's one reason. Another reason is Krishna also using these pastimes, he teaches us lessons. So this is for all the rest of us, the Nitya Bada, the fallen conditioned souls in this world, to look at all these pastimes, to become number one, attracted to these pastimes, to become attracted to Krishna, to become attracted to the pure devotees of Krishna. And number two, to learn the proper behavior, the proper culture, the proper understanding, the proper spiritual tattva, all these things is for us to learn. So we have to understand. So Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the glory in everything. So to understand this, Krishna enacts this pastime where Arjuna, when Krishna is no longer there, Arjuna becomes powerless. So now everybody can understand where the power actually came from Arjuna. So to reinforce that understanding, Krishna enacts all these different pastimes. Yes, Prabhu, is correct.
So, okay, Prabhu, thank you very much.
Yes. Any other questions from anyone?
Even
Okay.
Prabhu, in the Mahabharata also written,
Huh?
in Mahabharata, Adi Parva also written all the characters. Who
Mhm.
are the characters in the spiritual or the demons? Like
Yep.
Dronacharya, like Duryodhana is a demon.
Duryodhana is Kali personified.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you.
Okay. Right, that's one question Shanti Mataji has put in the chat. Okay, why would Varuna amass wealth? Varuna, he collects these things. He keeps them in his ocean kingdom. The Devatas, they have all kinds of things. The Devas, that's their prerogative. Because they were very pious, in this life they become Devatas. So Devatas are given all these special powers and special responsibilities. At the same time, they are given this prerogative also to keep all these special items. Just like king. Why should king have wealth? Why should a emperor have a big palace? Why can't he live in a small 3-story house or something like that? Why does he have to have a huge? So, but these are what is given to them. It is their reward. So Varuna, I don't know what kind of arrangement they have. Probably because Varuna has a vast storage. So therefore, he keeps all these different things the demigods uses. So the demigods have various items. They keep them. It's like Varuna is like the keeper. He keeps all of these things. Okay, so effulgence of austerity that Arjuna had when he went to fight for the Virata king. Would we also have such effulgence if we practice austerities? Oh yes, definitely, definitely. Uh, Actually, performing austerities increases the oja, even at the biological level, even at the gross material level. Simply by following certain austerities, we become powerful. Our memory becomes powerful. Our, like for example, brahmacharya. If you see brahmacharis, right, they generally have a bit of glowing, a lot of energy. So that's because of these austerities they follow, right? We follow some austerities. So by following these, but each chanting is also an austerity. So by doing these things seriously, we are able to control the mind better. And at the same time, our memory sharpens because as we do all these things, Krishna from within our heart, in Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse, Hridi Sanivishta Apohanam Cha. From me, from Krishna, Krishna says, from me, you get remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. And he also says in the 10th chapter, one of the Chatur he says that from me comes knowledge. I will show you if the devotee is serious and sincere, remembers me, I from within the heart will show you the way to how he can come back to me. So I will reveal the knowledge from within the heart. So austerities, they make you, yes, but too much austerity is dangerous. So what we want to do, why is dangerous is because it also tends to harden the heart. Someone who does too much austerity, they become very hard-hearted. But we are following the path of bhakti. So we don't do extreme austerities. We do some austerities for the sake of controlling the mind, but we want to keep the heart soft, supple and soft. So therefore, because we are trying to develop attachment, not to matter, but to spiritual things. Okay. So basically the answer to that question, yes, we will also get the teja. Spiritual, It's not just austerities. We get spiritual tejas by knowledge also. One who has cultivated knowledge, that is also an austerity. There are different types of austerities. It's given in the Bhagavad Gita. If you read Bhagavad Gita, I think chapter 16 or 15 or one of these chapters, the later chapters, Krishna talks about the different types of austerities. Amongst brahmacharis, celibacy is austerity. Amongst grihasthas, controlling the senses is an austerity. So like that, for students, studying is an austerity. So there are different types of austerities which we can do, and this will also make one effulgent. The word "he partha" is this word. He came with English word "he." No, that is in Sanskrit. In English, when you say "hey," that is like "hey," but in Sanskrit, when you say "hey," it's like "oh, oh Lord, oh Krishna." So instead of saying "oh Krishna," in Sanskrit is "hey Krishna, hey Radha," like that. So that is how "hey" is used in Sanskrit. Okay. Those are the questions. I hope that answers. Anything else? Anybody? Okay. If nothing further, thank you very much. Any further questions, you can always put it in the WhatsApp chat and I'm happy to answer. So thank you very much for the time.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. See you all.